Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today I thought I'd share with you a Game Week 24 wildcard draft that I've been tinkering with over the past 24 hours because, I don't know, I'm kind of looking at my team, I'm thinking there's a little bit of deadwood there. Is there a possibility that I might want a wildcard right now? Well, let's kind of see what that would look like. So that's exactly what I've been doing. I'm not saying I'm going to wildcard, I'm not saying I'm not going to wildcard. I don't know exactly how this will happen, but let me know, guys, what you think of this team. I think it looks beautiful. Arguably, anyone should just wildcard to this team because it's so nice. But yeah, if you do enjoy this video, please do like, please do subscribe if you want more FPL videos in your faces. Without further ado, let's have a look at this Game Week 24 wildcard team. So guys, I have to tell you, I've spent 103.3 million on this draft. I've left 1.7 million in the bank as well. So it might be affordable, it might not be, but you can kind of let me know what you think here. But let's start off in goal straight away with David De Gea. I think the most obvious goalkeeper in the entire FPL game, certainly in the short term. We've got Burnley this game week, Game Week 24. But next game week, there is that beautiful double game week, Southampton and Brighton. You would say there's a good chance for at least one clean sheet over those two games. And we know with De Gea, he makes plenty of saves, which is just a huge string to his bow in terms of FPL points, because when your team, particularly if your team is only scoring 1 or 2 goals, you keep a clean sheet, you make a couple of saves, you're likely to get bonus points as well. So De Gea has been absolutely smashing it for points recently. He's probably been the best goalkeeper, and that isn't even factoring in the fact that he's got these beautiful fixtures coming up. So really obvious goalkeeper choice there. So that is who I would go for in goal. Into defence, we're going to go for the most boring pick, and it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, a player who has been in every single one of my team selection videos, every single one of my free hit team selection videos, every single one of my wildcard drafts I've made all season, because he's just like the most just the most insane player to have, just like the key to FPL success. Like, I feel sorry for people who have not owned Trent for periods of this season because he's just that crucial. But yeah, we've got a really interesting bit of information, and I haven't put it down on the graphics yet because it's not 100% officially confirmed, but we are going to be likely seeing a double game week from Liverpool in Game Week 26. So where you see that Norwich fixture, that is going to become Norwich and Leeds. 99% sure on this one. It looks super likely, but yeah, we're not 100% sure yet, so I'm not gonna claim it's 100%, right? But anyway, guys, Leicester and Burnley before that, pretty good fixtures as well. Leicester particularly are really a weak defence, so we know that Liverpool can maybe get something there, in particular in the attacking returns. But aside from that, we're kind of looking at clean sheets and assists from Trent. That's kind of what we like about him. Moving on into Cancelo, another premium defender. Brentford next, Norwich after that. So two really good games back to back where we've got this insane chance of clean sheets, insane chance of attacking returns as well. Really good fixtures in the immediate term for Man City. So although I wouldn't necessarily want to load up on those Man City players, I feel like having some of them is really important. Cancelo is just the most nailed on defender in the Man City defence, pretty much, we'd probably say at this point. And he's just an insane player with plenty of attacking potential, playing for the best defence in the league, the best team in the league, right? You can't really go wrong with Cancelo, so he's just another one of those set and forget players that you just stick in your team and just leave in your team, just like Trent Alexander-Arnold. Moving on to Digne, Lucas Digne, he's got some fantastic fixtures. He's been a player that we've been kind of hyping up a lot on this channel and around the FPL world, really, we've been hyping up Digne, and for good reason, really. He's already come in with a clean sheet and an assist combo last game week, didn't he? Which is really nice to see. And we've got these great fixtures coming up as well. So we're going to hope to get some more clean sheets, more assists, more attacking returns. We know how attacking Digne is, really attacking. We just needed to get him back into this Aston Villa team. We know that Matt Targett has left Aston Villa on loan as well, so Digne is super nailed on now in that Aston Villa team. It seems like a no-brainer to go for him if you are on a wild card. All looking really good, really liking the look of this one. And I think we could get some, not just clean sheets, but also some decent attacking returns from Digne as well over the coming game weeks. Could be a really nice one. And who knows, could be a sneaky double game week somewhere in there as well. Probably not likely until kind of game week 26, 27 though. So, but just keep your eyes peeled on that one. And finally, I'm going to finish off the defence with Kieran Tierney. And I have to be honest with you guys, he's probably the player I'm least convinced by in this wildcard team. I was kind of struggling for a fourth defender, if you like. Can't really think of who would be the best player to go for. But what I really do like is Wolves and Brentford. I know that Tierney has these 2 blanks in game week 25 and game week 27, but 24 and 26 look pretty good, to be honest. Really, really nice fixtures, actually, for an Arsenal defender who's got a lot of attacking capability as well. And the thing is with Tierney is that particularly in game week 25, we'd want to bench him anyway, because we've got, particularly when you see the rest of the team, and we know already, let's not beat around the bush, there are some double game weeks in game week 25. Tierney's not going to make the cut anyway, so we will be prioritising our double game week players. So that's not really a concern. I don't really consider this one a real blank, because he wouldn't really be playing anyway. You wouldn't really, it's not something you worry about. You'd be playing some of your other players. Game week 27, on the other hand, maybe a little bit more concerning, and maybe that's a reason to not have Tierney. But certainly those 2 fixtures he does play look pretty good, and there is also a good chance, I say good chance, there's a chance of a game week 26 double game week for Arsenal as well, where they play Brentford and they may play one other team. Don't know who that'll be yet, but yeah, it's a possibility, guys. So yeah, again, keep your eyes peeled on that one. Yeah, this is the thing. We kind of got to keep our options open a little bit and pick some different players from different teams a little bit, just in case these double game weeks do appear. They can appear from nowhere, can't they, guys? So anyway, let me know what you think about the Tierney shout. Is there someone you'd rather go for instead of Tierney that's going to work, not just for the short term, but also for the long term? Anyone you like, let me know. We have got De Bruyne in midfield next, and I think he is a player who is a good pick for a couple of reasons. Now, the first reason is because this is our Salah spot. All season, we kind of have this dedicated slot in our teams that is the Salah slot. Unfortunately, Salah has been at the Africa Cup of Nations recently. I'm representing an African Cup of Nations top right now. But Salah is not going to be available likely for Game Week 24, maybe not even for Game Week 25. He is already in the semi-finals of the Africa Cup of Nations, which means that he is going to be playing on the final day of the tournament, because on the final day of the tournament, the third place playoff game plays at the same time as well. So whether Salah, Egypt, win or lose the semi-finals of AFCON, it doesn't matter. Either way, he is going right to the end of the tournament. And that tournament finishes only a couple of days before Game Week 24 starts. So it kind of seems pretty unlikely that Salah is actually going to be available for Game Week 24. And even Game Week 25 is just a couple of days after that. So I don't think that it's super urgent to have Salah straight away, especially when we can use that money to go for someone else, find a placeholder that we really like for the next 2 game weeks. Yes, we will want Salah in Game Week 26 because of that potential, well, almost confirmed by this point, double game week for Liverpool. Salah in Game Week 26 versus Leeds and Norwich. Absolutely phenomenal double game week, and a triple captain opportunity there for you as well, obviously. But before then, we need a placeholder. We need a player who is roughly the same price, and for me, I think the best player to go for is De Bruyne, playing for this Man City side who is just on absolute flames right now. 2 fantastic fixtures. De Bruyne is in some really top form once again, and I honestly think that particularly for this game week, De Bruyne also represents probably the best captain choice in the entirety of FPL. So if you're going to go for a 2-week punt on a premium player in midfield, why not go for a player who is a really super obvious, captain shout for this game week? And, against Norwich, the following game week is probably going to get a pretty decent score there as well. And then after that, maybe De Bruyne is actually going to be rotated a little bit just as these Champions League games come up. But certainly for the short term, I actually really like De Bruyne as a placeholder for Salah. So, that's what I would advise there. I don't think Salah is going to be the one to go for straight away on a Game Week 24 wildcard, but you need that placeholder. So that's who I'm going to suggest there. Our next player is Son, who is back in training. Fantastic news for Spurs. Fantastic news for Son. He's back in training, so he is going to be available from Game Week 24, which is really nice. We kind of missed him. He's been one of the star performers, particularly under Conte. But to be fair, this whole season, Son has been probably, the star player of this Spurs team, right? And I think he can continue. His underlying stats from when he was playing before his injury were fantastic. He was scoring goals. He was getting assists. He was doing everything that we like in FPL, right? And this next game is against Southampton, a game where Son typically thrives. Even after that, we kind of got Man City in a couple of game weeks' time, Leeds. These are the kind of games that Son will do really well in as well. So even though you can kind of say Man City is a difficult fixture, Son is kind of a big game player in many ways. He's a counter-attacking player, and he performs really well against these kind of teams. I think we already saw it earlier on in this season where Son did really well against City. I think he scored, was that the first or second game week this season? So really early on in the season, and he immediately did really, really well. So there you go, some good fixtures. We know that Spurs have got a lot of double game weeks to come. The first one, this is a prediction, we don't know for sure, but there is potential for a Spurs versus Brighton game to be rescheduled during game week 26, I believe. So that's going to mean that Son will play both Man City and Brighton in game week 26. Like I say, on the face of it, that doesn't look great. For most players, that wouldn't be a great double game week, but it's actually not bad for a player like Son. So for that reason, we potentially can go for a player like Son. Double game week very, very soon. Very, very possibly going to happen. And aside from that, the fixtures around that look good as well. And he's going to be, Spurs star man. There's going to be double game weeks, plenty in game weeks to come as well. So loads to love there. Absolutely loads to love there. And I really do recommend this shout. We're going to go for Bowen next. I feel like he's one of those players who, you probably had before the wild card, and you're going to have him after the wild card. He's got to keep his place, really. He's just been doing so well. I've been kind of hyping him up as the form player of the league right now. And I truly believe he is that. I think he's really, really good. He is definitely, most certainly, West Ham's primary attacking player, the player who's most likely to get those attacking returns anyway. And next up, he's got Watford, then Leicester. Two really weak defenses, then Newcastle. Fair enough, Newcastle improving on their defence a little bit, but you would still say Watford, Leicester and Newcastle have been three of the very, very worst defences in the entire league so far this season, right? After that, Wolves a little bit trickier, but certainly these three fixtures look phenomenal for Bowen. So I think you've just got to have him. There's no point dancing around it. There's no point trying to get clever with this one. Bowen is just, he's here to stay, right? He's here to stay in our FPL teams, wildcard or not. And finally, we're going to complete the midfield with a little bit of a spicy differential. You guys know I like a little bit of spice in my life. We're going to go for Alanga, 0.2% ownership. If that is not spice, I don't know what is. So yeah, he's 4.8 million, super lowly owned, and he's got, like we know, these good fixtures and this double game week of Southampton and Brighton as well in game week 25, so we can prepare for that with another Manchester United player. Very nice. The question is, do we think Alanga is going to play both of those games? Do we think he's going to be playing every game? Well, I think he seems pretty nailed on at the moment. Ranić clearly likes him. When we kind of look at the other options, particularly if it's a 4-3-3 formation, who are the other wingers potentially going to be? Well, I mean, I'm not going to speak about Greenwood on this video. I don't think an FPL channel is the really appropriate place to talk about the Greenwood situation. But what I can say is that he's not going to be playing for Manchester United anytime soon, and rightfully so. Aside from that, the other options on the wing are kind of Rashford and Sancho, both kind of not really in too much favour right now. Alanga is certainly, I would say, above both of those players in the pecking order right now. So I'm getting Greenwood, 2019 vibes, as in, when we talk about a player who is super cheap for a big team, who is going to do really well. In that regard, I think Alanga, he's kind of going to be that real cheap player who kind of comes out of nowhere. We think Tsimikas at the beginning of the season, when circumstances find themselves in taking you to a certain place, suddenly a super cheap player can actually become a really important asset and a great way to get some decent points for a really cheap amount of money. And if it doesn't work out long term, I mean, he's 4.8 million. We're not going to triple up on Manchester United in the long term probably anyway. The worst case scenario is you're left with a 4.8 million player on the bench. That's pretty standard anyway. So yeah, I think this is a good shout. I think this is kind of, there's not too much risk with going for this one. The downside is not really too bad. And yeah, I really feel like it could pay off. He's looking pretty good. I like the player, and I think he'll start as well. So yeah, there you go. A little spicy differential for you guys in your lives if you fancy it. And then moving to the forwards, we're going to go for another Manchester United player in Ronaldo. The most obvious Manchester United player to go for, in my opinion. Well, actually, to be fair, maybe De Gea is slightly more obvious. But if we're talking about, big hitters from Manchester United, Ronaldo is potentially the one that there really, isn't he? So, yeah, I know a lot of people will be saying, okay, I kind of prefer Bruno to Ronaldo. That's fair enough. You prefer what kind of player that you prefer. But obviously, particularly when you kind of watch Bruno playing, we kind of do see him drop kind of deep, which is something I don't really like too much. I want my attacking players to be really attacking, even though Ronaldo's kind of been off it a little bit recently. It's been a long time now. There's been a lot of time for him to regain his fitness, regain his form kind of thing. So I think Ronaldo can hopefully be back to his best. Bruno, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't like his positioning. I know he popped up with a couple of goals, but he didn't really look too likely to score aside from those, 2 chances really. So particularly if Pogba is coming back, I know Pogba's in training now as well. Pogba often makes Bruno a slightly worse FPL asset as well. We kind of saw that at the beginning of this season as well, didn't we? Where Pogba was doing it all, and Bruno, aside from, I think it was game week 1, Bruno kind of did really well, and then after that it kind of dropped off quite tragically, particularly with the arrival of Ronaldo as well. So, a Bruno with Ronaldo and Pogba in the team, potentially not so good. But certainly Ronaldo, I do think he's going to start all games possible because Manchester United are under a lot of pressure to try and get into that top 4, those top 4 positions, get in the Champions League and stuff. So yeah, fixtures look amazing. Double game week looks amazing for a premium player. It seems like a pretty nice choice for me. And we're going to finish off the team with Edouard. 6.5 million, pretty differential, not super differential, but this is a player with 2 fantastic fixtures that are actually the reverse fixtures that Manchester City have got, Norwich and Brentford, the other way around. So Crystal Palace have got Norwich next and then Brentford after that. Difficult game in game week 26, but you can potentially bench him for that one. And then game week 27, a nice fixture against Burnley as well there. So good fixtures. A player who is seemingly, looking really good. I mean, when you look at his underlying stats, when you watch him play, you can see how many shots he's taking, how advanced he's playing, how he's in the box. He looks really good, and I think he is kind of going under the radar a little bit from more casual players, where kind of guys like myself, kind of guys like you guys who consume this FPL content, you'll know that Edouard is looking pretty good and is could potentially explode here and get some really good points in some really, really easy games. So I quite like this one. I don't think it's absolutely essential. There are slight concerns about Edouard's minutes. He has been playing a lot recently, but he does occasionally get substituted off. Zaha is going to be back in this team as well. Is that going to displace Edouard? Is Mateta going to be getting more starts now that he's signed permanently? Where is Benteke? Nobody knows the answer to that one. So yeah, that is the minor concern with Edouard, but everything else points to a big thumbs up because the underlying stats look good. He looks good when you watch him play, and the fixtures are good. And those are kind of typically all we really care about, really, when we're talking about FPL, right? So there we go. That is the starting 11, guys. Let's whip up the bench and show you what I got here. So we got Foster, 4.1 million goalkeeper. Pretty much just because I do think he's going to be the starting goalkeeper. It does seem like he's going to be the starting goalkeeper for Watford for the remainder of the season. And if so, 4.1 million is just incredible value for a starting goalkeeper. You very rarely get a goalkeeper quite that cheap to you that's actually going to be starting games. So yeah, easy choice there, I suppose. Broja on the bench there. He's going to be first on the bench. I've kind of set this team up as you would play it for game week 24. So Bruyne would go on the bench. He's got Tottenham away, so a pretty difficult fixture. Game of 25, he plays Manchester United, as you guys know. After that, though, Bruyne's fixtures really do swing in a favourable way. So after that, they've got Everton at home and Norwich at home back-to-back. So from game week 26 onwards, actually, Southampton's fixtures look really, really decent, to be fair. So that is kind of be the kind of point where you'll start introducing Bruyne into your starting 11 there. And then the other 2 players on the bench are 2 beautiful game week 25 doublers. So you are prepared for the game week 25 double. So although Brighton don't play in game week 24, they do have those 2 fixtures against Watford and Manchester United in game week 25. So McAllister and Veltman. McAllister kind of is just because he's really cheap. When we're talking about Brighton attackers, we probably don't want to spend too much money because we don't trust the Brighton attack that much, do we? But certainly, when we look at McAllister's kind of underlying stats, looking really good. When we look at his actual output, actually scoring goals, getting the occasional assist as well, taking a lot of shots, which we really like, a lot of long-range shots in particular. So in this Watford game, looks pretty good. He could do pretty well there. Veltman, on the other hand, is kind of there because he is super cheap and nailed, particularly now that Dan Burn has gone. When we're looking for a nailed Brighton defender, you probably say Cucurella is the number 1 most nailed on Brighton defender, but he's like 5.1 million. It's so much money to spend on a Brighton defender, particularly long term. So Veltman, the advantage of Veltman is that he is pretty nailed on. He can play at centre back, he can play at right back. He's going to be playing throughout all double game weeks. And because he's 4.2 million in the future, where perhaps we don't fancy the Brighton fixtures too much, that's fine. We could just leave Veltman on our bench to just waste away there and cover when he is absolutely needed. Whereas Cucurella, you kind of, if you were going to go for him, you kind of lock a lot of money into a player who is actually likely to be on your bench pretty much at all times from game week 25 onwards. Although that might not be quite true, because I do want to say quickly, guys, there is I kind of think I mentioned this slightly earlier, but there's a really good chance of Spurs versus Brighton to be rescheduled in game week 26 as well. So that would mean that game week 26 is a double game week for Brighton, featuring Burnley at home and Tottenham at home as well. So that would be a double, two back-to-back double game weeks. That could be really, really nice indeed there, which gives more kind of emphasis on let's get a couple of Brighton players in. Let's not stop at one. Let's get a couple in, and let's just not make sure that they're not too expensive. Make sure they're super nailed on players, so they'll play every single game across 2 double game weeks. They're going to be playing every single game. I think Veltman offers that. I think McAllister is very close to offering that as well. So I think this is 2 really good players who are super cheap as well. You can't really go wrong. Again, what's the worst that can happen? You know, after you decide that they're dead weight after game week 26, we'll just leave them on your bench there. That's absolutely fine. And I have left a little bit of money in the bank there. As you can see, 1.7 million. One, to upgrade De Bruyne to Salah when needed. I think you need about 0.5 million to do that. And also, you know, a little bit of money there as well. If you want to upgrade McAllister later to a different player, that's absolutely fine as well. He's probably going to be one of those players that you'll be likely to want to upgrade at one point or another, wherever you downgrade somewhere else to compensate for that. I don't know. So there we go, guys. Anyway, this is the Game Week 24 wildcard draft that I've been tinkering with recently. This is kind of where I've ended up on. I think there's good reason to have pretty much every single player in this team in your team. They look amazing. I kind of wish I could have this team without a wildcard, really, because I don't really want to spend my wildcard quite yet, but I just love this team so much. So I kind of need to figure out for myself whether it's worth just pulling the trigger and going for it. I love my instincts so far this season. You know, when I've kind of made free hit drafts, when I've suggested doing a triple captain, the results, even though I haven't actually gone through with it, the results have been pretty good. So maybe I just need to trust myself and you know, take that step and have the courage to actually pull the trigger on this wild card. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be spending the next week doing, basically, guys, trying to figure out whether I'm actually going to do this or not. But if I was to do a wild card as things currently stand, this is what I would go for. I think it looks really, really sick. But do guys let me know what you think, because I am obviously interested in your opinion. Is there any players you think are really missing from this team? Are there any players in this team that really worry you? Maybe a Tierney kind of worries you. I'd kind of understand that. Maybe a Langa worries you a little bit as well. Absolutely fine, guys. Let me know what you think about this team indeed. But there we go, guys. Quickly on captains, I'll go super quickly because we already spoke about it. De Bruyne captain, really obvious captain for this game week. And, you know, you could chuck the vice captain on, you know, Son or maybe Ronaldo. So let's stick it on Ronaldo. There we go. That is the team. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy what you saw today, please do leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And please do subscribe as well. And make sure you've got notifications on as well, because I noticed that views have been down a little bit recently. I wonder if that's just because it's international break and everyone's switching off from FPL and I'm the only loser still thinking about it. Maybe it's something to do with that, to be honest. So yeah, whatever. But there we go, guys. Yeah, thank you again for watching. Hope to join you on future videos. We've got loads of videos in the backlog for Game Week 24 if you want to go watch some other FPL stuff. Loads of stuff on my channel, all very, very relevant, all still very, very current. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for another video, which I'm not sure what will be yet, but I have a good idea. It'll be a surprise. Alright, guys. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.